Okay, so here's what I want to talk about today. And for the first time, I don't have a script, so we'll see what happens. So, what I've noticed is that broadly speaking, there are two kinds of voters that I've noticed online. There are what I'm going to call Kantian voters or Kantian voters, and there's what I'm going to call utilitarian voters. So, as a quick refresher on Kantianism and utilitarianism, I'm just going to abbreviate these K and U. So, I'm not like a philosophy major or anything. These are just going to be my rough-ish descriptions of these two terms, so that I can make the rest of the video. So, a Kantian, roughly speaking, is someone who believes that certain things are always right or always wrong. A utilitarian believes that the value of an action is dependent on its outcome. So a really, really basic example of this would be murder. If you ask a Kantian, is murder wrong? There's only one answer they're going to give you. Of course, murder is wrong. If you would talk to a utilitarian, what they're going to tell you is it depends on who you're murdering. So if you murder someone and it creates better outcomes, then murdering them is good. Hey, Lily. Lily's here. She's being annoying. Well, she's being noisy. So Kantians and utilitarians have a very big disagreement on like when actions are good or bad. Kantians believe that certain actions are always good or bad. Utilitarians believe it's outcome dependent. So let's say that it was possible to kill someone, an innocent person, but it would improve outcomes for everyone. A utilitarian would say, even though they're innocent, hey, don't be doing that to the couch. A utilitarian would say that even though you're killing an innocent person, if you're increasing outcomes, you're increasing outcomes. You got to do it. A Kantian would say, well, wait a second. You just said it's okay to kill an innocent person. That's not good. And then the sort of quintessential problem to decide whether you're a utilitarian or more of a Kantian is what's called the trolley problem. So the trolley problem, for those of you who don't know, you've got a train coming down the tracks. As things currently are, it's going to hit and kill 5 people. You have the ability to pull a lever to switch the track from them, but on that new track is one person. So essentially the question is it okay to kill the one person in order to save the 5? A utilitarian would say, yes, you should pull the lever, killing 1 to save the 5, because 5 is more than 1. A Kantian would say, no, you should allow the 5 to die because that's better than killing the 1. So that's my rough breakdown on utilitarianism versus Kantianism. So how does this apply to voting? So another big phenomenon that I've been seeing is that a lot of people do not like the Republican president, Donald Trump, and also do not like the Democratic presidential candidate, Joe Biden. So, who do you vote for? Effectively, there are 4 options. But as we're going to see, really there's only 2 options. So option 1 is that you can vote for Joe Biden. Option 2 is you can vote for Donald Trump. Option 3 is you can vote third party. A lot of people have been talking about voting for the Libertarian candidate, Jo Jorgensen. And your 4th option is that you can simply not vote. So again, how does this apply to Kantianism versus utilitarianism? Well, if you are an intelligent voter, or just somebody intelligent from the country in general, or not even necessarily from the country, just somebody who understands how our democracy works, you know that the president of the United States on January 11th, whenever the transition of power takes place, will be Joe Biden or it will be Donald Trump. Those are the only two options. No one seriously believes that a third-party candidate will win. Also, nobody believes that if you just don't vote, that the election is somehow going to be invalidated and then nobody will be president or something. Either Joe Biden will be president of the United States of America or Donald Trump will be president of the United States of America. Those are the only two things that will happen. If you deny that part, you're an idiot. It's just that simple. So then, if we agree with the premise that both Joe Biden and Donald Trump are bad presidential candidates, we have kind of two broad decisions that we can make. Lily, what do you want? If we agree, Lily is being very chatty today. If we agree with the premise that both candidates are bad, then essentially we have two broad choices. And this finally gets to the utilitarian versus Kantianism thing. If we go utilitarianist in our voting, again, we know Biden or Trump will be president. The most utilitarian thing to do is to vote for whichever one of the two you think is the stronger choice. That's it. If you are utilitarian, then if you think that Trump is a 9, or if you think that Trump is a 1, but Biden is a 1.1, you should vote for Biden, absolutely. And if you think it's reversed, you should vote for Trump. You should vote for whichever one of the two candidates you think will make the country incrementally better. Even if it's by 0.01 or 0.0001, if one of the two candidates is slightly better than the other candidate, you should vote for that candidate from a utilitarian perspective. And then the other big camp of people I've been talking to are the Kantians. So remember, Kantians are people who believe that certain actions are just always wrong. Well, from that perspective, a lot of the people who I've been talking to have been saying, well, both candidates are bad. I'm just going to not vote for either one. This would be like a Kantian perspective. So again, like a Kantian would say, well, I cannot vote for Trump. Voting for Trump is an immoral choice. I will not do that. Also, I will not vote for Biden. Voting for Biden is an immoral choice. I will not do that. So at that point, you can not vote or you can vote third party. Both of those two options are going to have about the same effectiveness on the election. If you just don't vote or if you vote third party, both of them will not change the outcome of anything. Of the two, you could delude yourself into believing that voting third party might be more effective because at least in theory, it is possible that Jo Jorgensen could win the election. But the math and the polling just suggests that it's just not going to happen. Like it's just from a mathematics perspective, it is just literally impossible. CPG Gray, another YouTube channel, has a very, very good take on how first past the post voting works and why third-party candidates basically just hurt their own chances. But long story short, Jo Jorgensen is not going to be president of the United States. Voting for her is effectively the same as not voting. So if you believe that both of them are bad and you're a Kantian voter, you will just not vote or you will vote for a third party. Personally, I consider myself to be a utilitarian. I'm not going to talk about on this channel who I'm going to vote for. People who know me well are probably going to be able to guess pretty easily who I would endorse, given the current state of things. But long story short, I think that you should vote utilitarian. When I say vote utilitarian, I mean you should either vote for Joe Biden or you should vote for Donald Trump. And the simple reason is just the whole benefit of utilitarianism. I think it will be more efficacious. If I can make my country like 0.0001% better, then I'll go with that. Now, it could be the case, theoretically, that both candidates, if elected, will actually make the country worse. That is a possibility, and I'm willing to admit that. However, if we assume that that's the case, I would rather have my country get, 10% worse than get 50% worse. Or I'd rather have it get 30% worse than get 31% worse. Whatever values you would assign to the two, because the two are definitely not equal in terms of the amount of good and or harm they will do. And I think most people will begrudgingly acknowledge that the good or bad they do is just not equal. Some people say both are bad, and some people say both are good. I haven't heard very many people say both are good, but a lot of people say both are bad, but very few people I know will say that both are equally bad. And if you believe that one is slightly better or even slightly less bad than the other one, that's who you should vote for. It's really that simple. There really isn't anything that like one of the two candidates could do that could really change my mind from voting for one of the two of them. Now, it's possible that one of them does something that makes me vote for the other one, but it is not possible that I won't be voting for either Joe Biden or Donald Trump on election day. So I've heard a lot of people say like, oh, this candidate's done this candidate's done this. That's meaningful in helping me decide between the two, but I will still be voting for one of the two because I don't think that voting for anything other than one of the two actually does anything. And I want my country to be as good as it can be, even if no matter what the outcome is, it's going to get worse. So yeah. Maybe in another video, I might talk about like what my reasoning is between why I'm going to vote for the person I'm going to vote for. But long story short, this is like my reasoning for why I'm going to vote for either Donald Trump or Joe Biden on election day. I do not think it's worth voting for third-party candidates. I do not think it's worth voting for nobody. Yeah, there we go.